would like to talk about building your own process. Do you ever struggle to come up with an answer when asking yourself the question, what's my process? In this video, I will help you think more deeply about that question, as well as accept the possibility that that question may not require any answer at all. There's a certain tipping point on the long road of the actor's journey where the question, what is my process, begins to dissolve. Not because the question has been answered, but because it was never really the right question to begin with. A process suggests something that you can define, refine, and rely on. Something solid and repeatable. Every actor experiments with the tools provided by different techniques, keeping what works and leaving behind what doesn't. But eventually, every actor must learn to let go and take ownership of their individuality and their own unique voice. The true journey of the art of acting for each individual is much deeper and much more mysterious than following formulas. It's constantly evolving. It's shaped as much as by who you are today as by the material that's right in front of you. So what you're really building over a lifetime isn't just a process. It's a deeply personal relationship to creativity itself. Acting as a practice. If your relationship to acting only exists when you're in rehearsal, on set, or on the stage, your relationship to it is always going to feel fragile. The real question is, what do you do on a daily basis? A deeper relationship forms when acting shifts from something you just do when you book a role to something that you practice every day of your life. Not practice in terms of drills and exercises, but in the sense of ongoing sustenance. How you observe people, how you stay present and listen in conversation, how you experience conflict, desire, discomfort, and how you live and embrace life. It's in this way that your life becomes inseparable from your creativity. Your direct relationship to the human experience is what truly builds your acting instrument. The instrument is you, and it changes. A musician can replace or repair their instrument at any time, for any reason. But the actor's instrument is constantly changing and evolving. Your perceptions shift over time. Your emotional landscape grows and evolves. Your defense mechanisms shift over time. This means that your process can never be stationary because your instrument isn't. What worked for you at one stage of life may stop working later. Not because it's wrong, but because you have changed. Part of the discipline of being an artist lies in recognizing and embracing all of this stuff, while at the same time trusting that you are moving forward and growing. So instead of asking yourself, well, why isn't my process working anymore? The deeper question becomes, who am I now? And what new stuff does the work require from this new version of me? How great would it be if every seasoned actor could grow and evolve, just like Willie Nelson's famous guitar, affectionately named Trigger. Nelson owned this Martin N20 classical guitar since 1969 and only had minor repairs done to it in order to preserve its unique depth of sound and its character. After over 10,000 performances, Trigger became legendary and provided Willie Nelson with a signature sound that was impossible to recreate. Creativity requires a tolerance of not knowing. Most technical approaches to acting are, at least in part, tools to help reduce uncertainty and offering the actor a sense of control. But just like any other creative medium, the artful life of the actor asks something much more challenging, a tolerance for not knowing. Not knowing how a scene will land, not knowing whether or not an emotional impulse will arrive, not knowing if your choices are right, not knowing how to solve a problem in the work. Early on in every artistic journey, not knowing feels like failure. Later, however, it begins to feel like a space where something incredible might occur. Cultivating your relationship to uncertainty in the journey of acting is crucial. If you rush to solve everything, you could fall into predictable habits. Often, if you can remain in the unknown and face being uncomfortable, something new emerges. Expression versus protection. At the deepest level, the art of acting is exposure, behavioral, emotional, and psychological. And that runs in direct conflict with an equally strong human instinct, protection. Protecting how we're perceived, protecting yourself from judgment, protecting yourself from emotional risk, protecting yourself from failure. Your process, quote unquote, often becomes the negotiation between these two forces. Some techniques help you open and expose these things. Others subtly help you hide while you actually appear open, but you're not really open. Over time, however, you begin to feel the difference. You recognize when you're truly expressing something, and you can tell when you're presenting something that just looks like expression. Oftentimes, that recognition, even though it's uncomfortable, becomes essential, because your growth as an actor is not just tied to your skills. It is also tied to how you are able to surrender to your willingness to be seen. Depth comes from living. There's a temptation to try to take a shortcut into depth by pushing yourself into emotional territory that you think the work is asking of you. But true depth in acting doesn't come from pushing. It comes from the truth of what we have built throughout our lives, such as experiences, joyful, painful, extraordinary, that we have had time to process, contradictions, and even the absurdities of life. Empathy that expands beyond our immediate perspective, and failures that have reshaped your sense of self. In this sense, your life is not separate from your craft. It is your craft, because experiencing life alters the way you perceive, respond, and understand human behavior. Your process then becomes less about accessing certain emotions and more about allowing your lived experiences to inform the work. This is why roles such as King Lear or Mary Tyrone aren't approached by actors until much later in life. Not just because of the character's physical age, but because the depth of the life experience required to effectively play them, returning again and again. A lifelong relationship to acting is not linear. In the life of an artist, there are periods of growth, stagnation, doubt, clarity, disconnection, and rediscovery. You definitely will sometimes feel like you figured it out, realize that you haven't, strip things back, and build them up in a new way. In times like this, what must sustain you is your curiosity, your passion, and reminding yourself that the work makes your life better. Letting the work change you. There's a version of acting that always stays safe. You apply your techniques, go through the motions while still somehow staying removed or at a distance. And then there's another version of acting, less comfortable, more transformative, and where the work changes how you see. You begin to understand perspectives that you once resisted. You begin to recognize behaviors in yourself that you hadn't noticed before, or maybe you begin to develop a deeper understanding of humanity. This kind of change isn't always comfortable, but it deepens your work in a way that good, reliable technique can never do that. Your process at this level is no longer just about producing results. It's about allowing the work to have an impact on you. Now, what kind of actor would you rather be? The disappearance of process. If you stay with the work long enough, something unexpected happens. You begin to move beyond the need to define your process. Not because you've abandoned structure and abandoned discipline, but because the structure and the discipline that you have been building becomes internalized. What once required much more conscious effort becomes more instinctual. You know where to place your attention, you recognize when you're disconnected, and you know when and how to adjust. From the outside, your work may look totally effortless, but that simplicity is the result of a long, deep, evolving relationship with the craft. As celebrated poet Rilke said in his famous work, Letters to a Young Poet, don't search for the answers, which could not be given to you now, because you would not be able to live them. And the point is to live everything. Live the questions now. Perhaps then, someday far in the future, you will gradually, without even noticing it, live your way into the answer. In conclusion, building your process isn't about arriving at a system that guarantees results. It's about developing a way of working and a way of living that allows you to remain open, curious, responsive, and honest over the course of time. It will shift as you shift. It will deepen as you deepen. It will break down and rebuild itself more than once. And if you stay committed to your relationship to it, not rigidly, but attentively and lovingly, it becomes something deeper and much more durable than any formulaic approach. The artist's journey is a way of life, meeting the unknown, living life to the fullest, giving of yourself selflessly and completely, and always allowing the wounds, wrinkles, and rough edges of life to sing in your work. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like and subscribe for more videos like this one. Click on the description below for links to our website and to learn more about the new Collective Acting Studio and our private coaching membership. Thanks for watching. See you on the next one.